Yeah, I know. I'm pretty late to this one. So, the biggest movie of the year came out at the beginning of the month. It's making a ton of money, and the internet can't stop talking about the acting, the music, the cinematography, and the popcorn buckets. Look, everyone has made a video about this movie. For a while, I was gonna skip this video entirely and make something else. But then something happened. I was at work and I mentioned to my coworkers that I had seen Dune the weekend past. And almost all of them told me that they were still on the fence about seeing it themselves. Turns out not everyone is as movie crazy as me, go figure. So I didn't even fathom that some people really don't care about or even understand the hype around Dune right now. And that's why I'm making this video. A quick little video where I'll lay out some non-spoilery thoughts and answer the question, should you see Dune Part 2? Okay, let's talk about the bad stuff first. This movie is over 2.5 hours long. Now, I don't care how good a movie is, anything that's over 2 hours long, you're gonna feel it. Now, this doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. I think they use the runtime well and they don't waste a scene. Dune deals with a lot of complicated themes like religion, politics, strategic Game of Thrones type plots and gambles. The runtime is needed. These ideas and plots need time to properly flesh themselves out. Plus, there still needs to be room for the characters to slow down and breathe, so we can get to know them. So if you don't think you can handle 2.5 hours of Dune straight, just wait for the stream to release on HBO Max and take your breaks, king. Don't let Film Twitter judge you for that. The only other somewhat negative thing about this movie is that Part 1 is 100% required viewing. Look, I love Dune Part 1. I understand that a lot of people don't, and that's okay. If you want to fully understand everything that Part 2 is trying to do, you must do your homework and watch the first one. Or find a Dune Part 1 explained YouTube video. That's okay too. Otherwise, you will be so confused, and that's not a joke at all. Dune Part 2 treats you like an adult. No recaps, no quick summaries of what happened previously, just straight into the madness. Okay, that's all I have for the bad. Now if you're thinking, MediaMine, those aren't even bad things about the movie. You're absolutely right. I freaking love this movie. One day I'll have to look back at this film with a much more objective lens, but I've honestly thought about this movie for weeks and checked out podcasts and reviews, and I genuinely can't think of anything major that I dislike about this movie. The cinematography is incredible. I have to give credit where credit is due. Greig Fraser never misses. All of his films look stunning. This guy knows how to frame a shot, and not only do they look stunning, but they give off all the right vibes. Look at this shot from Matt Reeves' The Batman. Tell me Batman doesn't look absolutely terrifying here, and how good does that shot look too? Greig brings the sauce here, and this movie is worth seeing on the big screen just for that. Next, the music. Hans Zimmer cooks, but we all knew he would do that. Next, we'll talk about the actors. Timothee's performance as Paul Atreides is better here than in Part 1 for sure. He didn't do bad in Part 1, but in Part 2, Paul goes through a lot and he really grows as a character. Tim has more work to do with it, and he really brings it. There's a scene towards the end of this film where Timothée speaks to a crowd. The music kicks in, and I literally got goosebumps. You'll know it once you see it, but it's a great scene, and that's really when the film got going for me. The rest of the cast is great too. Austin Butler really killed it in his role. I wish he had more to do, but every second he's on screen, he's absolutely magnetic. And of course, Zendaya finally gets her time to shine in the Dune series. She famously wasn't in Part 1 for like more than 10 minutes, but she's pretty much sharing the role of protagonist with Tim in this film, and she crushes it. Everyone else does great. I could go on forever about the cast, but just know that there isn't a single average performance here. Everyone is bringing their best stuff to the table. Finally, the story. Yeah, this stuff is good. I can't speak about specifics, but the story is incredible. The practical sets they built are awesome. I can't complain. It starts off a little slow. But once things get going around 20 minutes in, it goes on a non-stop ride, and by the end, you wish the ride was still going on. So, should you watch Dune Part 2? Absolutely! If you can handle the runtime and you are even slightly intrigued by the first Dune, you will love this movie. If the runtime is too much for you, that's okay. Wait for it to go on streaming services and check it out then. But I would highly recommend Dune Part 2, and I really believe you should watch it. Well, I guess I should give Dune a score, huh? Alright, I'm giving Dune Part 2 an 8.5 out of 10.